Bad habits don't defeat you. A broken system does. Change doesn't require willpower, it requires strategy. How many times in your life have you promised yourself, starting tomorrow I'll change, and just a few days later, all that determination vanishes as if it never existed? You set your alarm for 5 a.m. only to turn it off unconsciously. You write a diet plan, but quit after 3 days. You want to quit social media, read more books, sleep earlier, yet you keep repeating this same old cycle. Then you blame yourself. Why am I so weak? I have no discipline. I'll never accomplish anything. But the truth is harsher. The problem isn't you. The problem lies in how you try to change. People don't fail because they're inadequate. They fail because they take extreme approaches. Change everything at once or change nothing at all. Overly strict diets. Workout schedules so intense you know you can't keep up. A page-long list of goals, none of which lasts more than a week. You want a total transformation overnight, while your mind and body operate on the exact opposite principle. Drastic change triggers internal resistance. You don't fail for lack of willpower. You fail because your personal system is broken. And when your system is broken, effort becomes a burden. The harder you try, the more exhausted you feel. The more you want to change, the more life pulls you back. Some people wake up every day with a vague sense of failure. Why do I know what's right but still can't do it? That pain quietly erodes confidence, convincing you that you're incapable of change. But the Japanese have a completely different perspective. They don't force themselves to become a new person overnight. They don't rely on sudden bursts of motivation to rescue a life full of bad habits. Instead, they build a system of change, where even the smallest actions, seemingly insignificant, have the power to break habits that have clung to you for years. A system built on Kaizen, Hara Hachibu, Ikigai, Wabi-sabi, and Gambaru. A system that doesn't create resistance, isn't extreme, and doesn't drain you. A system that helps you reclaim control of your life, step by step, gentle yet relentless. If you've tried everything and still can't escape your bad habits, if you're exhausted from constantly breaking promises to yourself, if you want to start over without falling into the trap of go all in and then give up, this is the roadmap to change, without harming yourself, without pressure, and most importantly, without ever going back to square one. Before we begin, hit like and subscribe to support us and help us create more meaningful content. The foundation for breaking bad habits. 1. Kaizen. Improving 1% every day. Kaizen doesn't teach you to change through massive effort. It teaches you to start with tiny steps that create no resistance at all. When an action is small enough, your mind can't find a reason to say no. It could be as simple as drinking an extra glass of water, walking for 30 seconds, reading half a page, or doing a single sit-up. These seemingly insignificant actions are the sparks that ignite major transformations down the line. The story of samurai Miyamoto Musashi is a vivid example of the Kaizen principle in action. Musashi didn't become a legend through grand battles or spectacular victories. He practiced his swordsmanship every single day, rain or shine, hunger or fatigue, starting with motions so simple they might have seemed meaningless. He didn't train out of inspiration or excitement, but out of discipline and persistence. Those small, repeated actions accumulated over time into extraordinary power, making him an unbeatable warrior. Kaizen works the same way. The small steps you take today lay the foundation for extraordinary strength tomorrow. The key to Kaizen is not how much you do, but how consistently you can maintain it. The Japanese understand that intensity produces temporary results, while consistency produces lasting transformation. That's why Kaizen prioritizes regularity over bursts of effort. A small action repeated every day carries far more power than 100 grand actions done once in a surge of motivation. Once you maintain it,
you begin to rebuild the most precious thing your bad habits may have stolen from you: belief in yourself. Kaizen calls these small wins, modest victories that, when accumulated, create a powerful psychological shift. Every time you complete a tiny action, you send yourself a signal: I can do this. Repeating that signal gradually turns doubt into trust and ultimately into a commitment to your own life. It all follows one unchanging rule: small change, maintain, fuels the next change. This is a positive cycle, the exact opposite of the cycle of failure we often experience. Instead of blaming yourself, quitting, and starting over in torment, Kaizen helps you take slow, steady steps so that each small success nurtures inner confidence. The true power of Kaizen lies in its ability to avoid triggering your brain's defense mechanisms. No pressure, no fear, no worry about whether you can handle it, because everything is too small to cause stress. And it's precisely this smallness that leads to the deepest changes. Like water wearing away stone drop by drop, Kaizen turns a tiny action into the foundation for the larger journey you are pursuing.
2. Hara Hachibu, the 80% rule. This isn't just the longevity secret of Okinawans. It's a philosophy that helps you escape extremism, break free from the cycle of all or nothing, and build sustainable self-control. Hara Hachibu teaches you to stop at 80%, enough to progress, but not enough to exhaust yourself. In eating, it means stopping when you're satisfied, not stuffed. But in habits, it becomes a broader life model. Do 80% of everything, not extremes, not pushing yourself to the limit. Samurai Musashi, during his grueling years of training, never pushed his body to exhaustion in every session. Instead, he maintained sword practice and tactical exercises at a manageable level, enough to maintain discipline and steady progress without burnout. He understood that overtraining one day could fatigue both body and mind, slowing long-term progress. By consistently practicing at just enough every day for years, he built extraordinary strength, defeating exceptional opponents without sacrificing health or mental stability. In Musashi's philosophy, Hara Hachibu isn't weakness. It's a smart strategy to conserve energy, regulate emotions, and steadily advance toward your goals. Applied in daily life, this principle can transform everything. Eating, no need for overly strict or stressful diets. Spending, no impulsive purchases you regret later. Social media, no need for total bans, just reasonable limits. Work and study, no need to give 200%, just consistently do 80% each day. Moderation creates balance, something most of us lose chasing short-term resolutions. Most habit failures come from an all-or-nothing mindset. Extreme dieting or total indulgence, 120-minute workouts or nothing at all, complete social media detox or total immersion. It may sound strong, but this mindset is the biggest barrier to long-term sustainability. Too much effort leads to exhaustion, and exhaustion leads to quitting. Hara Hachibu breaks this mindset by putting you in the safe zone of just enough. When you stop forcing yourself, internal resistance disappears. When you stop being extreme, you avoid the rebound effect, breaking all rules because of one slip-up. The 80% rule helps you maintain a relaxed but progressive rhythm, the key to persistence. You don't have to strain to endure. Everything is manageable, gentle, and non-threatening to your mind. Consistency emerges naturally when you stop at the point of overload. The greatest gift of Hara Hachibu is the ability to self-regulate daily. You learn to listen to yourself, knowing when to push a little more and when to pause to conserve energy. This self-regulation is the foundation for sustaining any good habit without breaking down along the way. Musashi taught that victory doesn't come from explosive strength or extremism, but from maintaining a stable, steady state and adjusting step by step.
The Hara Hachibu principle is the modern embodiment of this mindset. It reminds us that you don't need to exhaust yourself or chase perfection. Sustainable progress comes from doing just enough, consistently, and balancing effort with rest. When you eat, train, work, or study at 80%, you minimize failure while maintaining long-term momentum, accumulating strength day by day. Living by the 80% rule, you begin to feel the difference. No more guilt when you slip, no more pressure from overexertion, no more frustration at not achieving 100%. Instead, you feel ease, control over your life, and most importantly, long-term, sustainable progress. Because change doesn't require perfection, it requires consistency.
3. Ikigai, finding your reason to change. Ikigai, the deep reason for existence and life purpose, is the inner flame that sustains perseverance on the path of breaking bad habits. Every lasting change comes from a motivation far beyond temporary impulses. Without a purpose, habits easily collapse under daily pressures, and effort quickly becomes meaningless. Ikigai is not just a goal, it is long-term emotional fuel that connects daily actions to the deepest values of life, transforming every decision and habit into a meaningful step forward. Throughout his life of combat and training, Musashi did not simply win through technique or physical strength. He found his ikigai in self-perfection and mastering the art of swordsmanship to excellence day by day. Musashi did not merely aim to defeat his opponents. His deeper purpose was to understand the essence of combat, refine his spirit, and live fully each moment of the samurai journey. Through this ikigai, he persisted in training through rain and shine, forging enduring habits and turning each day of hard work into solid progress, never swayed by fleeting emotions or fatigue. 4 essential questions help define ikigai. What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? And what can you be rewarded for? When answered honestly, every habit ceases to feel like a burden and instead becomes an indispensable part of pursuing life's purpose. For example, maintaining habits like exercising, eating healthily, or managing time is not merely about looking fit or checking the box. It's about respecting your body, mind, and personal values while laying the foundation to contribute and create positive impact in the world. Ikigai also enables actions to be sustained long-term without relying on fleeting willpower or temporary inspiration. When you understand your reason for being, every positive action becomes a natural part of life, not a choice, but a voluntary commitment to yourself. Musashi once said that the way of the sword is not only about learning to defeat opponents, but learning to defeat oneself, perfecting each step, one by one. His life purpose was self-perfection, and every strike, every movement served that goal. Habits, when tied to ikigai, become tools to fulfill a personal mission, making every failure a lesson and every effort meaningful. In practice, applying ikigai to break bad habits creates extraordinary mental strength. Every small action, drinking enough water, taking a walk, reading a page, or journaling, is fueled by your reason for existence. You are less likely to quit in the face of challenges because each setback is part of the journey toward ikigai. When fatigue sets in, recalling the deeper reason, why you started, why it matters, reignites inner motivation, far more sustainable than any external inspiration. Ikigai transforms habits from burdens into a life strategy. It not only helps sustain positive behaviors, but also creates a connection between the present and the future, between yourself and the world around you. Like Musashi, you will see that every small step, every habit practiced holds profound value, turning each day into part of the journey toward becoming the best version of yourself. When habits are anchored in ikigai, persistence becomes natural, failure becomes a lesson, and you, like a modern samurai, conquer not just bad habits, but yourself, day by day.
4. Wabi-sabi, embracing imperfection.
Wabi-sabi is a subtle Japanese philosophy that teaches acceptance of imperfection and finding beauty in simplicity, flaws, and transience. On the path to changing habits, Wabi-sabi becomes a vital mental foundation, helping break the fear of failure and liberating you from meaningless self-blame. Good habits are never formed perfectly overnight. Real change comes with failures, mistakes, and slow progress. Mistakes are not disasters. They are an essential part of growth. Recognizing this helps you stay calm in the face of setbacks rather than giving up in frustration. Throughout his life of sword training, Musashi faced countless failures, battlefield defeats, and exhausting days of practice. He understood that each mistake, each failure, was not the end, but an opportunity to learn, improve skills, and build resilience. He observed, analyzed, and adapted to failures, making them an integral part of self-improvement. Wabi-sabi, applied with subtlety, emphasizes persistence and continuous development rather than perfection. In modern life, Wabi-sabi breaks the cycle of self-blame and stress from unrealistic expectations. When you stumble in maintaining habits, miss a workout, overeat, or miss a deadline, the natural reaction is self-reproach, guilt, and mounting pressure. Wabi-sabi teaches that this is normal. Failure is a natural part of the process and does not define your worth. By seeing mistakes as a natural part of growth, you release negative energy, return to good habits faster, and maintain progress without the pressure that kills motivation. The principle of Wabi-sabi emphasizes sustainable expectations over perfection. Not every day needs to be perfect. Not every action must be flawless. What matters is continuous progress, however small. Repeated, imperfect steps accumulate over time, producing extraordinary change. This breaks the cycle of constant failure, where people give up due to unattainable standards. Wabi-sabi also cultivates the ability to learn from mistakes. Instead of avoiding failure or challenges, it encourages facing reality, analyzing causes, and drawing lessons. Musashi never saw failure as the end. Each battle, each technical mistake was an opportunity to practice again, improve, and enhance skill. It was this mindset that brought him unrivaled mastery, turning each failure into a stepping stone for future success. When you stumble, instead of beating yourself up, you can see it as a signal, adjust your approach, and continue your journey. Every small step has value, and every day maintaining a habit, even imperfectly, is a victory. True strength lies not in avoiding mistakes, but in resilience, learning, and continuous progress. Wabi-sabi transforms failure into a teacher, pressure into opportunity, and good habits into a sustainable journey. By accepting that no path is perfect, but every step has value, you rebuild confidence, sustain motivation, and move closer to a strong, self-controlled version of yourself. As Musashi demonstrated, it is not perfection, but persistence, patience, and the ability to learn from mistakes that create an invincible warrior, and Wabi-sabi is the key to unlocking that strength.
5. Gambaru, purposeful perseverance. Gambaru is the spirit of purposeful perseverance, the steadfast strength that carries a person forward on any journey, especially the journey of breaking bad habits. Perseverance is not about overexerting yourself or diving into extreme actions. It is about following a steady, incremental path, maintaining effort each day even when results are not immediately visible. This consistency lays a solid foundation, turning small daily actions into cumulative strength, gradually transforming life in a sustainable way. Gambaru is the backbone of Kaizen, where 1% daily improvements not only persist but grow into natural habits, forming latent power to overcome any challenge. Musashi did not become a legendary swordsman through lightning-fast strikes or spectacular victories overnight. He became a legend through relentless daily practice, enduring years of rain, sun, hardship, and challenge. Musashi began with basic movements, refining techniques step by step, strengthening both skill and spirit, regardless of fatigue, hunger, or solitude. Not every day was perfect, but every day he progressed. This persistent perseverance, anchored to the goal of self-perfection, transformed him from an ordinary warrior into an invincible legend. For Musashi, Gambaru was not just physical training, it was the cultivation of willpower, spirit, and long-term vision. In the practical journey of breaking bad habits, Gambaru helps maintain progress without being overwhelmed by pressure or frustration. When applying principles like Kaizen or Hara Hachibu, purposeful perseverance ensures that small, simple, yet continuous actions are not interrupted. One day might consist of just drinking a glass of water, taking a few steps, reading a page, or jotting a few lines in a journal. Yet, when repeated daily, these actions become natural habits. Gambaru teaches that speed and scale are not as important as consistent action, connected to a clear and meaningful purpose. Gambaru also helps overcome internal challenges. Difficulties, fatigue, discouragement, or self-doubt can easily lead to quitting. The spirit of Gambaru reminds us that each failure is not the end, but a signal to continue, adjust the approach, and move forward. Like Musashi, each misstrike or setback in battle did not stop him. He observed, learned, and returned to training with even greater focus. Purposeful perseverance is not blind effort. It is deliberate, step-by-step progression toward the point where good habits become instinctive and natural strengths. The Gambaru spirit creates lasting mental resilience, sustaining motivation over the long term. Combined with Kaizen, each small improvement is fueled by perseverance, forming a chain of small wins that reinforce self-belief. With Hara Hachibu, Gambaru helps maintain effort at 80%, avoiding exhaustion and frustration. When paired with Ikigai, each small action connects to a profound reason for being, generating powerful intrinsic motivation. Together with Wabi-sabi, Gambaru allows continued progress despite failures, mistakes, or imperfections, making every day a step forward in personal development. Gambaru transforms perseverance into an art, where every small action matters, every slow step leads to success, and every day maintaining a good habit contributes to building a stronger, self-controlled, and resilient self. As Miyamoto Musashi demonstrated, victory does not come from bursts of effort, but from steady commitment to a clear purpose. Day after day, on the journey to breaking bad habits, Gambaru is the backbone, the inner drive, and the enduring strength that carries you from one failure to the next success, step by step, until good habits are no longer choices, but instincts, becoming who you truly are.
A holistic method to break bad habits. Breaking bad habits is not about a sudden leap or a momentary surge of willpower. It is a strategic journey where each small step creates long-lasting, cumulative strength. This holistic method of change is built on the philosophy of the samurai and Japanese principles, combining Kaizen, Hara Hachibu, Ikigai, Wabi-sabi, and Gambaru, turning habit formation into the art of sustainable living. Starting with the smallest task, according to Kaizen, is an indispensable first step. Actions that seem trivial, drinking a glass of water, taking 20 steps, reading a page, are seeds of transformation, laying the foundation for a chain of small wins. Miyamoto Musashi trained every basic movement daily, regardless of fatigue or harsh weather, because he understood that great strength comes from small, consistent steps. When you complete these tiniest tasks, your brain recognizes success, releases positive energy, and fuels motivation for the next step. Maintaining the 80% principle, or Hara Hachibu, is key to avoiding extremes and burnout. There's no need to overexert yourself or push to the breaking point. The goal is to sustain balance and create a steady rhythm. Like Musashi practicing swordsmanship at a manageable intensity each day, you only need to do enough, consistently, to progress without depleting your energy. Applying the 80% principle reduces the risk of resistance from your mind and body while cultivating the ability to make micro-adjustments daily, allowing good habits to naturally integrate into life.
Connecting habits to Ikigai, your profound reason for being, provides long-term emotional fuel that surpasses any temporary motivation. Every action should answer the question, why is this important for my future? Drinking water nurtures your body. Reading expands your mind. Exercising strengthens both body and will. Musashi did not practice swordsmanship merely to win battles. He practiced to perfect himself, finding meaning in every step and every strike. When habits are anchored in Ikigai, failures are no longer reasons to quit, but opportunities to learn and grow. Embracing stumbles through Wabi-sabi releases negative energy and transforms failure into lessons. Real change always comes with mistakes. No one is perfect on the journey of self-improvement. When you falter today, what matters is returning the next day, seeing setbacks as a natural part of the process, and continuing forward. Musashi experienced defeat in many duels, yet he always rose, trained, and refined his technique, turning every error into a springboard for the next victory. Gambaru, or steadfast perseverance, forms the backbone of all progress. Perseverance is not blind effort. It is maintaining small, continuous actions aligned with your chosen path. Every step has value, no matter how slow or small, as long as you do not stop. Combined with Kaizen, Gambaru turns 1% daily improvements into cumulative strength, forming a chain of small wins that reinforces self-belief. Finally, tracking small signs of progress is essential to sustaining motivation. You don't need to wait for major results or visible transformations. Simply staying on the right path matters. Each completed action, each small step, proves that you are moving forward day by day. Musashi once said that the way of the sword is measured not by great victories, but by continuous progress step by step. In modern life, this principle reminds us that good habits are built from small, repeated, and consistent actions anchored in purpose and meaning. When practiced consistently, this holistic method transforms each day into an opportunity for self-renewal. You will no longer fear failure, feel pressured to be perfect, or discount small actions. Every effort contributes to becoming a stronger, self-disciplined, and resilient version of yourself, like a modern samurai mastering oneself, day by day.
The core principle. True, lasting change does not stem from explosive decisions or fleeting bursts of motivation. It emerges from small, consistent improvements accumulated over time. Every tiny action, every habit maintained day by day contributes to building a stronger, better version of yourself. This is the core principle. The power of progress does not lie in giant leaps, but in consistency, in a steady rhythm, in the ability to sustain actions that may be simple, small, yet continuous. Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary Japanese samurai, exemplified this principle throughout his life. He did not become a master swordsman through a few grand victories, but through relentless daily practice. Every basic movement, every small strike. Each failure on the battlefield became a lesson. Each day of training was a step towards self-mastery. Through this continuous accumulation, Musashi reached extraordinary skill, transforming his techniques into instinct and his habits into strength. The goal of change is not to suffer to change, nor to push yourself to exhaustion, nor to battle fear, failure, or pressure. True change is an opportunity to reinvent yourself every day, to become a better, stronger, and more self-disciplined version of yourself. When you maintain small daily improvements, you don't just change behaviors, you change your mindset, your perception of yourself, and create a system of enduring values. Each small, consistent step generates intrinsic motivation, strengthens self-belief, and transforms seemingly distant goals into achievable reality. Musashi understood this. Every strike, every movement, no matter how simple or imperfect, was a step toward mastery.
Change according to this principle is not forced, it cultivates natural, sustainable growth. This core principle applies to every bad habit in modern life. From eating habits to smoking, procrastination, reckless spending, excessive social media use to sleep management, all can be improved through small, consistent steps. By applying Kaizen, starting with the smallest action, Hara Hachibu, maintaining 80% effort for balance, connecting with Ikigai, your deep motivating purpose, embracing Wabi-sabi, learning from failure, and practicing Gambaru, persevering steadily, bad habits gradually lose their power, giving way to positive, sustainable behaviors. Each day becomes an opportunity to move closer to the ideal version of yourself. Accumulating change day by day also frees mental energy. Focusing on small improvements removes the pressure of perfection and the stress caused by temporary setbacks. Step by step, repeated over time, these small actions build tremendous strength, enough to overcome old habits, break mental and physical barriers, and create a natural operating system for positive routines. Musashi applied this principle. Victory was not in every perfect strike or battle, but in continuous training and fighting, accumulating skill and experience day by day, creating extraordinary mastery. The core principle emphasizes another key point. Speed is not the issue. Direction is. There is no need for urgency or bursts of intensity. Staying on the right path, maintaining a steady rhythm, and accumulating small steps produces sustainable results. Applied consistently, good habits become natural. Each day a step forward, each failure a valuable lesson, and each small improvement a building block for a new self, self-disciplined, resilient, and strong. The core principle combining the pillars of Kaizen, Hara Hachibu, Ikigai, Wabi-sabi, and Gambaru transforms breaking bad habits from a challenge into a strategic, meaningful, and sustainable journey. As Miyamoto Musashi demonstrated, true strength does not come from temporary bursts, but from sustaining progress, learning from failures, and persevering on the path of self-mastery every day. Understanding and practicing this principle allows you to see each day as an opportunity for self-renewal, every small action contributing to significant change, and every bad habit gradually giving way to a stronger, self-disciplined, and resilient version of yourself.